The gesture you've always ignored. Your cat walks toward you with a calm, almost deliberate rhythm. It stops just close enough to enter your space, looks at you for a second longer than usual, as if measuring something you can't see. Then suddenly, without warning, it drops to the ground, rolls onto its back, sometimes twisting its body in a smooth, controlled motion, almost like a somersault, and settles right at your feet. Most people smile and think it is just a cute moment, something spontaneous, something random. But there is a detail here that almost no one pays attention to. Your cat did not do this anywhere in the room. It chose your feet. It chose that exact distance. It chose that exact moment. Researchers who study feline behavior have observed that cats are highly economical with their energy. They do not exaggerate movements without purpose. When a cat exposes its belly, it is revealing one of the most vulnerable areas of its body. In nature, this is not a casual act. It is a calculated decision, a signal. And yet, in your home, this signal is often misunderstood. You might reach out too quickly. You might ignore it because you think it is just another one of your cat's habits. Or you might assume it is asking for affection in the most obvious way. But what if that interpretation is too shallow? What if your cat is communicating something far more precise? Something that depends entirely on how you respond in that exact second. There is a reason this behavior happens when you are relaxed, when you are standing still, or even when you are distracted. Your cat is not reacting to what you do on the surface. It is reacting to your presence, to your energy, to the subtle signals you are not even aware you are sending. And this is where most people miss the moment completely. Because when your cat rolls in front of you like that, it is not just showing trust, it is testing connection. It is opening a silent conversation that almost no one knows how to answer. What you are about to understand will change the way you see this simple gesture forever. And once you see it clearly, you will realize your cat has been trying to tell you something all along. Now, let's start with the mistake almost everyone makes. The mistake everyone makes, most people look at this moment and immediately label it in the simplest way possible. They think their cat is just being affectionate, or playful, or needy for attention. It feels natural to assume that a belly-up position is an invitation, something obvious, something easy to respond to. But this is exactly where the misunderstanding begins. Studies of feline behavior show that cats do not communicate in obvious ways like dogs. They operate through subtlety, through controlled signals that depend on context, timing, and your reaction. When your cat rolls onto its back in front of you, especially at your feet, it is not simply asking for something. It is presenting a message that is incomplete until you respond. And most people respond too fast. They reach down instantly, touch the belly, break the moment, or they ignore it completely, thinking it will happen again anyway. Both reactions miss what is actually happening beneath the surface. Experts in animal behavior explain that when a cat exposes its most vulnerable area, it is not automatically an invitation for contact. It is a display of trust mixed with evaluation. Your cat is observing you in that exact second. It is reading your movement, your hesitation, your awareness. In other words, your reaction becomes part of the communication. This is why so many people get scratched or pushed away right after touching the belly. Not because the cat changed its mind, but because the human misunderstood the message from the beginning. The truth is, this behavior is much more connected to territory, emotional safety, and silent bonding than to simple affection. Your cat is not just interacting with you, it is assessing you. It is confirming whether you understand its language or not. And here is the uncomfortable part. Every time you misread this moment, you slightly weaken that silent connection without even realizing it. Not in a dramatic way, but in a subtle, almost invisible shift in how your cat perceives you. But if this is not just affection and not just a random gesture, then why does your cat choose very specific moments to do it? That is exactly what you are about to uncover next. The exact moment your cat chooses to do this. This behavior does not happen randomly throughout the day. If you pay close attention, you will notice a pattern that repeats with almost surgical precision. Your cat does not roll onto its back at any moment. It waits. It happens when you arrive home and your energy shifts from outside tension to inside calm. It happens when you stop moving and become still, even for a few seconds. It happens when you are distracted, not giving direct attention, but still present. And it often happens when you are relaxed, when your guard is down. This is not coincidence. Researchers and specialists in feline behavior have observed that cats are extremely sensitive to micro-changes in human behavior. Not just actions, but posture, rhythm, breathing, and emotional state. Your cat is not reacting to what you consciously do. It is reacting to what you unconsciously transmit. That is why this moment feels so specific. Your cat is reading you before it acts. It detects when you are safe, when you are predictable, when your movements are slow enough to trust. And only then does it approach, position itself, and perform that exaggerated role right in front of you. In that instant, your cat is not asking for attention. It is responding to a version of you that it has already evaluated as stable and non-threatening. And this is where it becomes even more interesting. If you are tense, distracted in a different way, or moving unpredictably, your cat will often avoid doing this altogether. It will stay at a distance, observe, or choose another form of interaction. The behavior disappears not because the cat does not want connection, but because the conditions are not right. This means something most people never realize. Your cat is not just choosing the moment, it is choosing you in that exact state. And when that happens, when your cat rolls onto its back right at your feet, it is stepping into one of the most vulnerable positions it can take. A position that, in the wild, would never be offered without absolute certainty. Which leads to the next layer of this behavior, the one that carries the most weight. The most vulnerable position of all. When your cat rolls onto its back in front of you, it is doing something that goes against one of its deepest survival instincts. The belly is not just another part of the body, it is the most exposed, the least protected, the place where vital organs are closest to the surface. In the natural world, showing this area without caution would be a mistake that costs life. And yet, your cat chooses to do it in front of you. Specialists in animal behavior explain that this posture is one of the clearest indicators of perceived safety in a cat's environment. It is not about comfort alone. It is about calculated trust. Your cat is lowering its defenses in a space where it has already decided there is no threat. But here is what most people fail to understand. This is not a blind act. It is not unconditional. Your cat is aware, even in that vulnerable position. If you move too fast, if your hand comes in without reading the moment, if your energy shifts abruptly, the reaction is immediate. The body closes, the paws come up, the connection breaks. Not because your cat tricked you, but because you crossed a boundary that was never meant to be crossed in that way. Researchers who observe feline interactions note that cats often expose their belly more to communicate than to invite contact. It is a signal that says, "I trust this space," not necessarily, "touch me here." The distinction is subtle, but it changes everything. This is why so many people misinterpret the moment. They see vulnerability and assume permission. But your cat is doing something more refined. It is placing itself in a position where it can both trust and observe at the same time. And there is another detail that makes this even more intentional. Your cat does not do this in the middle of the room without reason. It chooses your feet, that exact point where your presence is strongest, where your movement begins, where your energy is most grounded. That position is not accidental, it is strategic. And once you understand why your cat chooses that exact place, the entire behavior starts to reveal a deeper meaning that most people never even consider. Why it happens at your feet and not anywhere else? Your cat could roll over anywhere in the room. The sofa, the center of the floor, a quiet corner, but it doesn't. It chooses your feet. That detail is not random, and it is not just about proximity, it is about position. Your feet are where your movement begins. Every step you take, every shift in direction, every subtle change in balance starts there. Researchers who study feline behavior explain that cats are highly attuned to the mechanics of movement. They do not just watch you, they read you from the ground up. When your cat places itself at your feet, it is positioning itself at the most informative point of your body. From there, it can detect micro-movements before they fully happen. A slight shift in weight, a change in stance, even tension building in your posture, your cat senses it instantly. This creates a level of awareness that most people never consider. Your cat is not just close to you, it is in the exact place where it can understand you best. And when it rolls onto its back in that position, it is combining vulnerability with control. It trusts you, but it also keeps itself in the most strategic spot to react if necessary. Specialists often point out that cats balance trust with self-preservation at all times. Even in moments that look completely relaxed, there is a layer of awareness underneath. By staying at your feet, your cat maintains that balance perfectly. But there is something even deeper happening here. Your feet are also your center of presence. When someone stands near your feet, they are inside your personal space in a very direct way. Your cat is not choosing distance. It is choosing intimacy, but on its own terms. This is why the gesture feels so personal, even if you never noticed it before. Your cat is placing itself where your presence is strongest, where your attention can be felt even without eye contact. It is creating a silent point of connection that does not depend on words or obvious signals. And then, right in that exact place, it performs that exaggerated movement. The roll, the twist, the almost theatrical gesture that seems too deliberate to ignore. That movement is not just physical, it is intentional amplification. And once you understand why your cat does that exaggerated motion, the entire message becomes impossible to overlook. The almost somersault is not random. That exaggerated movement your cat makes, the sudden drop, the twist, the almost theatrical roll, is not clumsy, and it is not accidental. It is controlled, it is measured, and most importantly, it is intentional. Cats are masters of economy. Studies of feline behavior consistently show that they avoid unnecessary effort. Every movement has a purpose, especially when it is amplified like this. When your cat performs that almost somersault in front of you, it is increasing the visibility of the message it is trying to send. In simple terms, it is making sure you notice. Experts in animal communication explain that animals often exaggerate certain behaviors when subtle signals have not been acknowledged. Your cat may have approached you quietly before. It may have stayed nearby, waited, observed, and when that went unnoticed, it escalated the signal. The roll becomes larger. The movement becomes more expressive. The gesture becomes impossible to ignore. But here is where most people still misunderstand. This is not a demand. It is not your cat saying, "Look at me," in a desperate way. It is closer to a refined form of communication, almost like emphasizing a word in a sentence. The meaning was already there. The movement simply highlights it. And there is something even more precise happening during that motion. As your cat rolls, it is watching you, not just before or after, but during the movement itself. It is observing your reaction in real time, your hesitation, your timing, your awareness. This is not just expression, it is interaction. Researchers who observe cat-human relationships note that these moments often function as tests of sensitivity. Your cat is not just showing behavior, it is measuring how well you read it. That is why the same movement can lead to completely different outcomes. In one moment, the cat remains relaxed. In another, it suddenly closes off, pulls back, or even pushes your hand away. The difference is not in the movement, it is in your response. And this leads to the most important question so far. If this gesture is not simply play, and not just attention-seeking, then what is your cat actually expecting from you in that exact moment? Because the answer to that question is where most people either strengthen the bond or quietly break it. What your cat expects from you in that moment, when your cat drops at your feet, rolls, and exposes its belly, something very precise is happening. Not a vague request for attention, not a simple invitation to touch, but a moment of expectation that depends entirely on how you read it. And this is where almost everyone fails. Most people react immediately. They reach down without thinking, assume the cat wants to be touched, and act before observing. But studies of feline behavior show that cats value timing and awareness more than the action itself. Your response is not judged by what you do, but by how and when you do it. In that moment, your cat is not always asking for physical contact. Sometimes it is waiting for acknowledgement, a pause, a subtle shift in your posture, even a calm presence without movement. Specialists explain that cats often seek what can be called silent validation. The confirmation that you see them, that you are aware, that you are present without imposing. And this is where the connection either deepens or breaks. If you respond too quickly, you interrupt the communication. You turn a moment of shared awareness into a one-sided action. Your cat withdraws, not because it did not want interaction, but because the interaction was rushed, imposed, misaligned with the signal. On the other hand, when you pause, when you observe for a second longer, something different happens. Your cat remains open, the body stays relaxed, the moment extends. What looked like a simple gesture becomes a quiet exchange. Researchers who study cat-human bonding often highlight this detail. Cats respond more strongly to humans who adapt their behavior to subtle cues rather than those who act automatically. It is not about doing more, it is about doing with precision. And here is the deeper layer. Your cat is not just reacting to your action, it is reacting to your awareness. It senses whether you understood the moment or simply acted out of habit. That difference shapes how it will approach you next time, which leads to something even more revealing. Because when your cat chooses to repeat this behavior with you, again and again, it is not just trust you are seeing, it is something stronger, something that goes beyond simple comfort. When this means more than trust. At first, it is easy to believe that this behavior is simply about trust. Your cat feels safe, it relaxes, it exposes its belly, and that is enough. But when this gesture repeats itself over time, in the same precise way, directed specifically at you, it begins to carry a deeper meaning. This is no longer just about safety, it becomes about selection. Researchers and specialists in feline behavior have observed that cats do not distribute this level of vulnerability equally. They may live in the same environment with multiple people, yet choose only one or two to display this kind of behavior consistently. That choice is not random. It is built over repeated interactions, subtle responses, and the way each person handles these silent moments. In other words, your cat is not just trusting you, it is recognizing you. There is a difference between a safe presence and a reference point. A safe presence is tolerated. A reference point is sought. When your cat rolls at your feet, again and again, it is not simply comfortable around you, it is orienting itself through you. It is using your presence as a form of emotional anchor. Specialists explain that cats create internal maps of safety and predictability. These maps are not based only on space, but on individuals. The way you move, the way you react, the consistency of your behavior. Over time, your cat builds an expectation around you, and when that expectation becomes stable, something shifts. Your cat begins to approach you not just for interaction, but for confirmation. Confirmation that the environment is still safe, confirmation that the bond remains intact, confirmation that you are still the same reliable presence it has learned to trust. This is why the gesture becomes more frequent, more intentional, almost ritualistic. It is not just a moment anymore. It is a pattern. And here's the part most people never notice. Within that pattern, there are small variations, tiny details that change from one moment to another, the position of the tail, the direction of the gaze, the tension or relaxation in the body. These are not random fluctuations. They are additional layers of communication, subtle signals that refine the message your cat is sending, and once you start to see those signals, the behavior reveals an entirely new level of meaning that most people never even realize exists. The secret signals that change everything. What looks like a simple roll at your feet is never just one message. It is a combination of small signals layered together, and each one changes the meaning of the moment. The problem is that most people only see the big movement and miss the details that actually define what the cat is saying. Start with the tail. If the tail is relaxed and resting naturally, your cat is in a state of calm, openness. But if the tail moves slowly from side to side, even slightly, specialists in feline behavior explain that this can indicate alertness, a level of evaluation still active beneath the relaxed posture. The cat is not tense, but it is not fully disengaged either. Now, look at the eyes. A soft gaze, partially closed eyes, or slow blinking suggests a deeper level of comfort. Researchers who study cat communication often describe this as a form of nonverbal trust. But if the eyes are wide, fixed, and intensely focused on your movement, the message shifts. Your cat is watching closely, reading you in real time, deciding how far the interaction should go. Then there are the ears. Ears facing forward indicate interest and openness. Slightly rotated ears show divided attention, as if your cat is still monitoring the environment while interacting with you. But if the ears pull back even subtly, the entire meaning changes. That small adjustment is often a boundary signal, a quiet warning that the moment should not be pushed further. Even breathing plays a role. A slow, steady rhythm reflects relaxation. A quicker, shallow pattern can indicate excitement or uncertainty. These are details most people never consider, yet they are always present. Experts who observe cat-human interaction often emphasize that cats rarely rely on a single signal. They combine multiple cues to create a complete message. When you focus only on the obvious movement, you miss the conversation happening underneath. And this is why the same behavior can feel different each time. One moment, your cat is inviting calm presence. Another moment, it is testing boundaries. Another, it is simply maintaining connection without wanting any physical contact at all. The gesture stays the same. The meaning changes. And if you do not see these differences, you respond the same way every time. And that is where misunderstandings begin to build. But there is an even more important distinction that almost no one talks about. Because sometimes, this exact same behavior can signal something completely different, something that requires attention in a very different way. When you should be concerned and almost no nitrogen monoxide one notices, there is a version of this behavior that looks identical on the surface, yet carries a completely different meaning underneath. And this is where most people fail to notice the shift, because they assume that every roll, every belly exposure, every movement at their feet means the same thing. It does not. Researchers and specialists in feline behavior have observed that when a cat repeats the same gesture excessively, without variation, it can indicate something beyond normal communication. Not necessarily something serious, but something that deserves attention. If your cat rolls at your feet once, pauses, observes, and then relaxes, that is a balanced interaction. But if it repeats the movement over and over in a short period, without settling, without that moment of calm stillness, the message changes. It may be trying harder to communicate something that is not being understood. This can be linked to frustration, unmet needs, or even subtle stress. Another detail to watch is agitation hidden inside the movement. At first glance, the roll looks the same. But if the body seems tense, if the tail lashes more sharply, if the transition from relaxed to alert happens too quickly, these are signs that the behavior is not purely about trust. Specialists explain that cats often mask discomfort behind familiar actions. They repeat what usually works, but with a different internal state. And because the movement looks familiar, the human response stays the same, even when it should not. Changes in pattern are also important. If your cat suddenly starts doing this behavior much more frequently than before, or at unusual times, it can reflect a shift in its environment or emotional state. It might be reacting to something new, something subtle that you have not noticed yet. A change in routine, a new sound, a different energy in the home. Even physical discomfort can sometimes appear this way. Some cats increase attention-seeking or expressive behaviors when they are trying to cope with something internal. Not in a dramatic or obvious way, but through repetition and intensity. The key difference is always in the details. A relaxed cat holds the moment. A concerned cat repeats the moment. And if you do not notice that distinction, you treat both situations the same way, missing the chance to respond correctly. But once you understand how to read these variations, something changes, because you are no longer reacting automatically. You are choosing your response with precision. And that leads to the most important part of all, the moment where you can transform this silent interaction into something much deeper. How to respond in a way that strengthens the bond. In that exact moment, when your cat is at your feet, belly exposed, body open but aware, what you do next defines everything that follows. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet shift that your cat registers immediately. Most people think the best response is action, to touch, to engage, to give something back right away. But specialists in feline behavior explain that the strongest form of communication with a cat is not immediate action, it is controlled response. The first thing you do is pause. Not a long pause, not something exaggerated, just enough to show that you noticed. Your cat reads that pause as awareness. It understands that you are present, that you are not reacting out of impulse. Then you observe. Look at the body, the tail, the eyes, the ears. Those subtle signals you learned before are now your guide. If the body remains loose, the eyes soften, the tail stays calm, your cat is open to a deeper interaction. If there is tension, if the signals are mixed, the best response may be to stay still, to let the moment exist without forcing it. Experts who study cat-human relationships emphasize that respect for timing is one of the most powerful ways to build trust. When you wait for the right moment, your cat begins to associate your presence with safety and understanding, not unpredictability. If you choose to touch, do it slowly, not directly on the belly, but in a way that respects the space. A gentle movement, something that allows your cat to accept or reject without pressure. This gives control back to the cat, and that control is what maintains the connection. If you choose not to touch, that is also a response. Sometimes the strongest bond is built in moments where nothing happens on the surface. Your cat stays relaxed, present, and the interaction becomes something silent but complete. Researchers often point out that cats form deeper bonds with humans who adapt rather than impose. The difference is subtle, but over time it becomes clear. One builds trust, the other creates distance. And here is the most important part. Your cat remembers. Not as a specific memory you can see, but as a pattern of experience. How you respond in these small moments shapes how your cat approaches you in the future. It defines whether these gestures become more frequent, more open, more meaningful, or whether they slowly disappear. And when you start responding with awareness, something changes in the dynamic between you and your cat. The gestures become clearer. The communication becomes easier to read, which brings everything back to where it started, to that simple moment that never really was simple at all. The message your cat has always been sending you. Your cat walks toward you, stops, looks at you, drops to the ground, rolls, exposes its most vulnerable side, and settles right at your feet. The scene has not changed. What changed is how you see it. What once looked like a simple, almost meaningless gesture now reveals intention, precision, and awareness. Your cat was never just being cute. It was communicating in a language that does not rely on sound, only on presence, timing, and sensitivity. Researchers and specialists in feline behavior have long observed that the strongest bonds between cats and humans are built not through constant interaction, but through correct interpretation, the ability to read subtle signals, to respond with balance, to understand without forcing. This is where trust evolves into connection. And now, you know what most people never realize? That moment at your feet is not random. It is not repetitive in the way habits are. It is a deliberate act shaped by how your cat perceives you, how it reads your energy, how it measures your awareness. It is a silent message that has been there all along, waiting to be understood. Every time your cat does it, it is opening a small window, a moment where you are invited not just to interact, but to align, to match its rhythm, to respect its timing, to recognize that the bond you share is built in details most people overlook. And the next time it happens, something will be different. You will pause, you will observe, you will see the signals beneath the movement. And in that brief, quiet exchange, your cat will feel it. Not through words, not through action alone, but through the way you choose to respond. Because your cat was always telling you something. Now, for the first time, you are truly able to listen.